Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and today we have got to start with an update with the man in the window. Those of you who are loyal listeners and make sure that you listen to all the episodes, shout out to you guys for doing that. You may recall me sharing that on the beach here, there is something that we call the Strand, right? So it's basically a different word for the word like boardwalk, except they're all houses on it, like $25 million houses, 40 million. I mean, there is no $3 million house. There's not even a $5 million house. Like the one that I'm in now that I'm renting, this would be sold right now as is. Oh God, because it's a duplex. I mean, at least 12 million. Insane. But there's just like most beach communities, there's the houses, that are all brand new, that were tear downs. There's the ones that are like just super enormous double lots. Then there's ones that are like have been here since 1920. And some of them, they have like, they've been passed down in generations, or there's ones where like, there's an owner of this one lady, there's ramps all made. She has a round the clock, like nurse person with her caregiver. They have all these like custom ramps that were made. She's in her 90s and her caregivers wheel her out to the beach. Like she originally owned the home. So it's really interesting and really great for nosy as hell people like me to walk on the Strand. This is why I also love being here and made a point of being here for just taking in all of the abundance and what's possible, because it's not just people who are, long retired and they finally bought their, dream beach house because they're going to die anyway. There's people younger than me. There's people my age. There's all different ages of people and evidence of success and abundance. So when you walk at night, especially in a situation like this, you can really see inside people's homes. So if you're really nosy, I mean, I think there's a fine line between a creep and being nosy. What is that line? Because I'm like, am I kind of hovering over the line? I kind of feel I might be. It's like one thing when you kind of like look and you're like, oh, that's interesting. So I think that'd be someone who's like just looking, who's nosy. Oh, that's a cool couch. Oh, wow. They have like a full bar like you'd see in a hotel. That's beautiful. I think that's being nosy. I think creep is when you purposely take walks at night because you'll be able to see it. Let's just say I do some of both. Anyone feel me on this? And I mean, I know people look in here. I mean, you don't get a house on the damn Strand in Manhattan Beach, California, and not expect people to be walking it, looking at your house, admiring it, wondering who lives in there. What do they do for a living, right? I mean, that's what you hear people saying when they're talking, walking up and down the whole time. It's actually really fun when people see, like, I'm just chilling out, I'm just chilling outside. It's like, they don't expect that, right? Because we all make up stories about who has the money to have places like this. And I kind of like that I'm the anomaly. Is that the right word here? I kind of like that I'm the, I don't know. I don't want to use the word again because now I feel like it's wrong, but it sounds really smart. It makes me sound really smart. But I definitely know I'm evidence, right? I like being the evidence. It's a lot of work to be the evidence. It's very vulnerable. It's scary. It can feel like a lot of pressure. But I like that I'm the evidence. I like that I'm the evidence for you, that it's possible. I've never married a man for money. I've never been married. So that'd be hard. Been engaged a few times. But this is all mine, right? It's not like I could say self-made, but I obviously hired people to help me and things like that. But yeah, I am definitely not the one who's expected to have this kind of success. I'm pretty freaking lazy. I go after things, but like, I'm pretty lazy. Like I like luxuriating. I am not organized. I'm not your organized Virgo. I'm very clean. I'm very tidy, but there are so many piles going on in this house that like I need help. I would love to have a professional organizer. If there's someone like in the LA area that's not going to try to charge me some Kardashian type pricing, I'd be open to it. The ones that have been referred to me, they wanted $10,000 to organize my office and closet. I'm like, really? Listen, I'm all about for paying for the best, but don't be egregious. That's wild. And I'm already someone who is tidy. It's not like a hoarder situation. Well, maybe the office supplies are hoarder-like, but I mean, come on. I know. I'm a little all over the place. I'm still highly emotional. I'm a mess, quite frankly. Emotionally processing a lot of deep grief, a whole nother layer of trauma, stuff from childhood, all a mixed bag. And as we know, I am not good at faking stuff. So not that I have to disclose every single detail of my world, although I tell you a lot, but give me grace when I lose my train of thought or if I go off on some tangent. We know I do it anyway, but I'm showing up regardless. This is what it looks like. I might not always be at my best. You might not always be at your best, but showing up regardless and still honoring yourself, that's all you need to do. And it's going to look different on any given day. And some days it's going to be messy as all hell. So I like being the evidence. I'm messy. I grew up in severe abuse. I have PTSD. I'm diagnosed. So I have PTSD. I'm diagnosed with that. I have generalized anxiety disorder and depression. I'm medicated for that. It takes a lot of work every day for me to remain present and upright just because of the amount of trauma that I suffered. I have to do a lot of that work. I'm not some crazy type A spaz that always wants to be working. I'm the opposite. So it's not like I'm sitting here working 12 hours a day. I work as little as I possibly need to. And I'm not super book smart. Yes, I have a college degree. Yes, I graduated cum laude, and I had to study 10 times harder than everyone else to get that. I'm not some naturally book smart person. I'm not great at numbers. And I'm terrible at spelling. And yet I'm here. I'm the evidence. And I love being the evidence for you guys. And I love being the evidence for people walking on this beach. They're pretty surprised, especially the people who live in the neighborhood. They might live in like the apartments or something, and they come and walk their dog here. So they get used to seeing, oh, it's always, it's always her. That's not like there's a husband or whatever, they see that. There's some mad respect that's gone on and some really cool conversations. Very cool conversations. There's also been some very rude and outdated and what's the word that's being used now? Is it male toxicity? Masculine toxicity. There's been some of that. Found it very interesting. I got laughed in my face when I shared with a neighbor when they asked me what I did for work. I mean, ask an entrepreneur what they do for work. It's like a very hard question to answer, especially when you like, you know, I'm an investor. I have 2 businesses. It's like there's a lot going on. So I always consider the audience, but you know, I said I'm a top podcaster who teaches people how to get clients and cash online by packaging their intellectual property and selling it in a variety of ways. The response was met with sarcastic laughter. Like, well, there's no way a podcast paid for that house. Very lucky I was in a serene mood and I started up for the last several weeks. Maybe it's been a month or so now. I'm practicing yoga at least 5 days a week, like going to studios. Lucky for that person, I wasn't in a Chi-Town tiff mood. Shout out my fellow Chicagoans who know what I'm talking about. I just did the head tilt and I was like, well, that was an interesting response, is what I said. Oh, well, I just mean, you know, everyone has a podcast. And my response was, and do you have a podcast? Well, no, but I mean, yeah. Funny, huh? He didn't want to see me as the evidence. And that's not my problem. Because he's bought into another story, another kind of programming. And I know you're like, what the hell does this have to do with Tiffany's New Year's Eve abundance igniting ritual? You'll see what it has to do with all of it. It's actually everything in it. Because I wouldn't be sitting here at this beach house in this exact location if it wasn't for these beautiful abundance rituals that I've been doing for a long fucking time now. Really, for 2 decades, I've been doing them. They've morphed, they've changed. I've implemented new things, changed up things as, you know, the more education and coaching I've gotten and experience of trial and error and seeing what works and what feels good. But you're getting the collective of 2 decades and, I mean, at least 500,000, if not more. Probably more, probably $750,000 in deep personal development, manifestation, law of attraction work in a beautiful exercise that's really fun and simple to do. It's often the most simple things that are the most effective when it comes to manifesting, by the way. Also, when it comes to business. But we've been programmed by marketers to think that we have to work more to get more. We have to be more and do more to have more. And they want you to feel that way because then you'll go buy the latest thing. You'll go buy the ab belt. I almost bought, by the way, an Amazon purchase of that waist cinching thing that makes you sweat when you work out. I stopped myself. It's like we know that that's going to give me a rash and it's not going to do anything. Plus, I don't need help in the sweating department. Who here is a fellow sweater? I've been a sweater since I was in middle school. I'm one of those people who I don't need help sweating. I'm dripping. I'm not the bitch who looks pristine after a fucking 75-minute yoga class of a power vinyasa class who has the lashes, the Cartier bracelets, and this bitch's hair still has a beautiful beach wave in it. I'm the one where I've had to take off my shirt. I'm dripping. There's no jewelry. There's no makeup. And probably my extensions are showing. I'm that person in the class. But it's the simple stuff. Back to the man in the window on the beach. So when I walk on the Strand in one of these little bungalow kind of places, it's really cute, but some people will take their beach houses, and that's like the one I'm in now. This is a full blown, I think it'd be 4,000 square foot beach house that I'm in, right? But I don't occupy the whole thing. What people will do to make more money, which is smart, is they will split up the house and make it to where it's like a duplex, even though on the outside it looks like it's one house. So they can get 2 luxury renters in here, which at $15,000 a month in non-peak season, in peak season, I think it's like $18,000. That's pretty freaking smart, I would say. So this place is like, some people will cut it up even more, where it's like they'll have like a little mini studio room. And because it's on the beach, they'll get still like $7-8 grand for it. It's insane. So this guy, AKA Man in the Window, he lives in, it's a tiny studio. There's a tiny little, everything's tiny in there. So it's like, if you remember the children's story, was it The Old Woman and the Shoe? Or do you guys remember the book James and the Giant Peach? God, who remembers that? I need to find James and the Giant Peach. I freaking love that book. It's like he's like a Polly Pocket. If you guys remember that, my 90s kids who remember that toy, it looks like he lives in a Polly Pocket house. It's like a dollhouse. Everything is miniature in there. So there's a window right on the strand where you can see the ocean from this window, and he has like a 2-top bar top right at that window. And I'm not fucking kidding you. Every single time, all of September and most of October, I would walk by that window. This man in the window would be doing some different activity at that table. I've seen him eating soup. I've seen him sewing with a sewing machine. I've seen him typing with an old-fashioned typewriter. I've seen him journaling. I've seen him stretching. I've seen him folding laundry. I've seen him like baking. It was crazy. So it was very enjoyable for me on this walk when I would go, and it's like, I would walk at sunset, and it's like, what is this man in the window doing today? It became a thing, and I've shared it on the podcast. And I know I've made a comment about it once or twice to I call them like the Strand Walker regulars. I don't even know where it came from, but I've made the comment, and I've obviously said it on the show. Guess who put up hardcore shades in his man in the window? So now I can't see in, and I've not seen what he's doing since. And I was like, oh my God, does he listen to the podcast? That would be wild. Or is it because my voice is so fucking loud and carries that this guy has heard me talk about the man in the window? And he's covered it up. And now I can't see, and I've not seen, is he still living there? What's happening? It really bothers me. That's the man in the window update. So am I a creep or am I nosy? What am I? Tell me what you are. Take a screenshot of this episode. Share it in your Instagram and Facebook stories. Tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany. And put if you're a creep or if you're nosy or if you think you're borderline. So let's talk about this New Year's Eve abundance igniting ritual that you're going to do with me. Now, if you're inside my ProjectME Posse group coaching membership, we're going to do this together in detail, and I'm going to teach you how to customize that for your exact goals, and we're going to go much deeper into it, obviously, because you're paying me. And the Posse is only, by the way, $3.33 a day. It's month to month. You can cancel at any time. It is technically always open for enrollment, but there's not always new member spots available. So we cap it at a certain size so that it remains intimate. It's not one of these memberships where there's 2,000 people and you get lost. So we keep it so it's manageable, so you guys feel seen and heard and have the accountability. That's why I'm able to call it a group coaching membership, because it will absolutely feel that way to you. inside of there. So if you want to go check that out, it's projectmewithtiffany.com/projectmeposse, projectmewithtiffany.com/projectmeposse. So the first month's $150 and then it's $100 a month. Again, you can cancel at any time. You get weekly live trainings from me and other special guest experts I bring in, plus over 160 prior training videos, all categorized and labeled inside a beautiful membership vault that we created for you. And you get to have your questions answered, and not just by me, but by the other people who are in the group. And people have made great friends, been on each other's podcasts. It's a great place to collaborate, to build your audience, whether it's on social or your blog or something else that you do. So projectmewithtiffany.com/projectmeposse. And you'll be able to access the replay if you're not there in time for the live training, which I highly recommend. But if you join just for the month, just for this live training alone, I would charge without a doubt at least $297 for it. You still will be able to access the replay, but we really want to do this exercise before the new year. So you can do this exercise year after year after year, and of course make tweaks to it of what feels the best to you. So I'm telling you what I do. And then if there's part of it, you're like, would it feel better for me if I did this? Then do that. Don't put it in such a box where you can't go outside it. All right. I want you to be able to feel like you can go outside the box. So people have intense feelings around New Year. Some people are obsessed with the celebration of time. Others find it to be filled with pressure and even triggering. I choose to look at it as an exercise to realign my energy for the abundance that I want to be attracting into my life today and going forward. So no need to look at this like you're setting your 22 goals or your intentions or a resolution. Look at it as a fun way to get into the abundance zone, as I call it, just for today, for this minute, for this hour even. Every second you spend in this highly magnetizing attraction energy, the better. Even if you fall out of it, you're in it for a minute and then you fall out of it. And then you're in it for a couple minutes and you fall out of it. Well, then you still have a whole bunch of minutes that you were in it, and that's better than where you were at before. So you're not going to always be in it. You're going to fall out of it and come back in it. The more you work the muscle, the more you practice it, the longer you'll stay in the abundance zone, and you will absolutely see a direct correlation to the abundance you attract in your life. I'm living proof of that. But to not keep going with it, you're going to have abundance atrophy. That muscle's atrophied because you've not worked it, and therefore it's going to be very evident in all areas of your life that it's not being worked. So do you want abundance atrophy, or do you want to be in the abundance zone? You have to make a decision for that, and then you have to work that muscle, and there's no way around it. And it can feel tedious. You might not feel like it some days. Well, guess what? If you want what you say you want, you're going to have to do this stuff. It works. So I would pick an amount of time that you'll be willing to experiment with it, where you'll stick with it. And maybe for you, it's like, I really can only do things one day at a time, Tiff. Hey, I get it. Right now I'm at 1 hour at a time in my life. If you're like, no, I work better with longer goals where it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, then do that. Now you're going to select the area of your life that you want to have the most substantial growth in right now. So the first thing that pops into your mind, what has popped into your mind right now? That first thing, try not to judge it. It might have been money. And then you go, oh God, how selfish of me. There's, other things that should be more important of that. Maybe it's marriage. Oh God, how pathetic am I? I should want to grow my business more than I want marriage. You might have judgments that come up around it. And then that can make you not go with that thing. Trust that thing popped into your mind first for a reason. I want you to pick an area where you can visually display your desires freely in your home and your space. Now, some of you might be in environments where they aren't as healthy, or people are nosy, or they make fun of you for being into these things and it doesn't feel safe to you. Then you're not going to feel super free to do the exercise. It's going to emotionally constipate you and it won't work. So if you need to create a private spot in a desk drawer that you regularly open, or in like your makeup drawer, or inside of a closet, that'll make you feel more free, I want you to do that. I've used a shoebox before to where, you know, who knows why I dated these people, but I've dated people who thought I was absolutely like nuts and would make fun of me for being into this stuff and would be like, oh, it's witchcraft and all this crap. And so I remember I created, I decorated a shoebox, and it was my manifestation box. Or you can go buy a pretty box from a store if that feels good to you. And I put the stuff in there because I wanted to feel free to put whatever I wanted in there without any judgment. Or you can have it out loud and proud in your bedroom, in your kitchen, in your office, in all of the places, wherever you feel the most free. So starting today, am I making a weird noise with my mouth? I feel like I am. I'm sorry if I am. I'm drinking coffee while I'm talking to you, and I'm trying to not make the sound of swallowing. So I know that like bothers some of you guys. And I feel like I'm making a weird noise with my lips, and I apologize if I am. If I'm not, then let's move forward. I want you to start today and over the course of the year, or as long as you feel called to, right? You might, like when I'm using the shoebox example, there was a point where I go, everything I want in this box for this year, for right now, is in here. It felt complete, and trust that. I want you to curate items. You're curating your manifestations. You're curating what you want to call in. I want you to curate, just like if you had a designer boutique that had your name on it. I mean, I know if I had one, it's just totally a dream of mine. I mean, I'll most likely be an online store, but like, I want to have my own store where it is like all office supplies, like the most unique, the coolest, the biggest variety, the most fun, where everything is curated. Anything in the shop had to be approved by me. So look at it like it's your own shop, whatever it is you're into, right? And be that intentional. Nothing goes in there that it's like, oh, this is good enough, or oh, this is close enough, or yeah, I kind of want it. No. I don't want any of the kind of want it. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, I know I'm supposed to kind of want this happy little laughing family thing because that's what society has taught us. So I'm going to put that in here. Fuck that. We have so much programming in us. Fuck it. Most of it's shit. I used to put like kids in mine, right? Like the family with the kids, because I was like, well, I'm supposed to want kids, and maybe something's wrong with me that I don't feel called to procreate my own children. And maybe something's wrong with me. So I used to put those in there. And it's like, guess what? The universe, God, it's not going to manifest if it's not meant for you anyway. So you're just taking up space in your shop, taking up space in your box, taking up space in your mind, really, with stuff that you don't really truly want, that's not meant for you. So you're going to, when you curate something, it's not just about gathering stuff, hand selecting stuff. It's also about managing the stuff, right? So having the stuff in your shop where you're like, you know what, that no longer lights me up. Or I thought I wanted that, and I had a realization last week that that's not really something I want. Give yourself permission to also eliminate and remove and discard from this manifestation shop of yours, okay? So I want you to curate items, photos, crystals, candles, toys, magazine clippings, anything that visually represents your desires in this area of your life. and you are going to place them in your literal abundance zone, in your literal abundance store. So it's a representation of that. If you love the idea of using an index card and putting it on an index card and it's something that goes in your wallet, I'm fine with that. If you want to create an altar, where you have a cute little table and you want to put it on there, I'm okay with that. If you want to take a corner of your mirror at home and put it on that, if you want to put it on poster board in a picture frame, do that. I have one that's all magnets. I have two, excuse me. No, actually three. I have three in the other house. It's all magnets. There are no rules. It just needs to be a visual representation, a physical visual representation. Some of you I know do like digital vision boards, like on Pinterest and stuff. I'm okay with that, but that's not what this exercise is. This is deliberate physical curation. There is no rush. There are no strict rules other than these things must put you in the feels of your deepest desires. So if something doesn't or no longer does, remove it, whether that's tomorrow, 3 months from now, a year from now, remove it. Give yourself permission to remove it. So start curating, and there's no rush. Maybe maybe there's one thing you put in this week, and then that's it. And then here's 5 things next week. There's no rules around it. You're not going too slow. Put it out into the universe that your shop is open. Your abundant shop is open, and I am looking for great items. Just like if I had, when I have my office supply store, I would put it out there of I'm looking for unique, high quality, innovative, fun office supplies for my store. So, hit me up, email us. If you have a product, we would love to review it, right? So just as you would go and do that, or if you had a clothing store, you would go to the fashion district, right? And go look at different brands and stuff and be very selective about what you have in your shop. So I want you to put it out there into the universe that you're open for business. I'm open for the business of abundance in this area of my life. You might be going for a walk and see a feather. And that feather represents that the angels are watching over you, and you want that reminder, and you want to glue it or tape it to your poster board or put it in your shoebox or whatever it is. Love it. You might be at a cute cafe and they have a coffee mug that says something on it that just speaks so much and puts you in the feels of exactly what you want to create in this area of your life. Perfect. Now, if you're like, well, Tiff, how can I put a coffee mug on if I have like a poster board or if it won't fit in the shoebox? Well, get creative. Take a picture of it and then print the picture out. Maybe you have one of my money juice mugs and you love that vibe, but how you're doing a visual representation of your abundance zone, your abundance store, right? It's not going to fit in there. Okay, well, take a picture of it, draw it. Get creative with it. Have fun with it. You've got to have fun with it. I'm telling you, one of the things I learned, and it wasn't until the last few years, the more fun you have, the easier it is to stay in the abundance zone and the longer you'll stay in it. So have fun with it. So then you're doing this, you're curating these things, and at least once in the morning and once at night, I want you to visit your abundance zone, your abundance store. And this can take seconds. If you're someone who wants to pray over it, if you're someone who wants to be in there for half an hour, I'm okay with that. If it's 30 seconds, 15 seconds, I'm also okay with that. All right. So once in the morning, once at night, visit your store. What happens if you owned a store and you never came to it? What do you think would happen? People would steal from you. No one would come in. Shit wouldn't sell. It wouldn't thrive, would it? So pay respect to it in your own way. Maybe you light a candle. I light incense because it's like that cool, like slow burn. I'll blow it a kiss. I've said a prayer, smile. I put my hand over my heart and take a couple deep breaths and acknowledge it is happening. It's all you have to say is it is happening. You don't have to even go as far as saying this is happening for me right now. If that feels good to you, you can say it. But just the nodding of your head, acknowledging it is happening and trusting and allowing and paying respect to the universe for helping you bring it to life is what you're doing. Now, if you just do this exercise and then don't do any of your own part and take any actions, invest any money in growing a business, for example, showing up regardless, if you're wanting to find a life partner, and that's something that, in the love area of your life, that's the area you're focusing on, yet you never go out, you're on no dating apps, and you're just sitting on your couch. That's a problem, right? It's not going to happen. So you've got to also be doing your part. Look at it like a store, right? What would I need to do for my abundance store to thrive? Not for it to survive, not for it to just make it through the month. What would I need to do if I had a store for it to thrive? And take action accordingly. If you want to ignite this further, again, you can sign up and go much deeper into these exercises, among many others, in the ProjectME Posse group coaching membership. So projectmewithtiffany.com/ProjectME Posse. And if you don't already have my abundance card deck, it's my affirmation abundance card deck. It's my digital deck. It's only $9.99. I do have a physical deck, but you have to be in my higher level programs in order to get my physical deck. But this is a fantastic tool to print these out, whether it's professionally or at home, and use these for your store creation. Use these to enhance your manifestations. And you can get this card deck at projectmewithtiffany.com/affirmation card deck. It's also in the link in my bio on Instagram at projectmewithtiffany. Or again, go to projectmewithtiffany.com/affirmation card deck. We only have a couple days left to hopefully reach our goal of donating $5,000 to Children of the Night to help rescue women and children from the arms and the prisons of sex traffickers. All you need to do is leave a 5-star written review of the show on Apple Podcasts, put your name or Instagram handle in the review, and DM me on Instagram. Let me know you left the review. It would be ideal if you put a screenshot in there so we can easily cross-reference. If you forget, it's okay. We'll still cross-reference it. And for every single 5-star written Apple Podcast review, I will personally be donating $40 to Children of the Night on your behalf. So please go do that. It's for December. There's only a few days left. I appreciate your help. These women and children require years and years and years of rehabilitation, mentally, physically, and emotionally, in order for them to be able to even function in society. So this money is going to be able to help them do that, of course, and also feel safe maybe for the first time ever in their lives. So I really appreciate you guys doing this and being such beautiful, loyal listeners of the show. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.